Hello, hello. How's everyone doing? I have officially arrived. Thank you very much for being here, everyone. Let me. Oh, I took down the music completely. I still need to get a hang of that. Let me just. Still playing in my ears. How's everyone doing? I have officially arrived. And by that, what I mean is the sign of a true streamer is that they start late. I've been doing pretty good, but this is my first time starting over 5 minutes late. Thank you very much for your understanding. What a week I've had. I gotta tell you, I have a couple things here. I only have one segment tonight for reasons that will probably be clear by the time I'm done telling you about my week. I will just get my notes ready, which should be. Oh, crap. This is a tightly knit operation I'm running here. This here. All right. Finally, April 13th, we are ready to go. So, hey, Frank, Brad, and Darth Shady. I have a question actually, real quick. If there's anyone in here right now watching live at 10 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays, can you let me know in the chat if there's anyone watching live right now who's never met me in person? I'm curious to know. Don't feel obliged, of course. Let me just take a sip of water. All right, so first of all, let me start with the cool thing. Oh, actually, before I get into that, I just want to explain. This stream happens once a week, and I record segments, and that's about it. I upload them as their own videos. There should be timestamps at the bottom in the description. I have a system now. They should be up earlier than usual. Usually I do that like by tomorrow afternoon, but they will. But they'll be here probably before I go to bed tonight. So, oh, and whether you're watching here live or you're watching after the fact in the replay, please hit the like button. It really does help this channel a lot. That being said, yeah, I was going to go into my week. So let's start with the cool thing. And this is very cool. So this is my channel, and in just 6 days, my Jordan Peterson video is the second most watched video in my channel's history. So this is really cool. Thank you to everyone who watched, and thank you also to the. Let me just do some quick math. To the estimated 60 people who watched that video all the way to the end, thank you. Maybe that percentage is up, but I didn't check, and it's a moot point. That being said, it's really it's really something to get that much attention. Almost 2,000 views is a wild success for this channel. And to get that in under a week is a bit much. It's funny how a bunch of people were clicking on expecting some kind of echo chamber confirmation, and not getting exactly that kind of disappointed them. If you're one of these people who came here through that video, thank you very much for being here. And you probably understand that this isn't going to be the run-of-the-mill talking points that you get everywhere. Another thing that happened this week on Thursday. Thursday, I was, doing my dishes after lunch, like I do, and I realize I run out of I. There's no more hot water in the middle of doing my dishes, so I open that locker that's right here, and I realized to my shock that the water heater has been leaking for God knows how long. I don't know how long it had been leaking. I All I know is I ran out of hot water on Thursday afternoon. So naturally, the first thing I do is cut the breaker. Second thing I do is turn off the water going into the water heater to stop the flooding, because there was in fact a small puddle at the bottom of that locker. And unfortunately, the way that my locker, sorry, the way that the pipes were set up, cutting off the water was all or nothing. So I essentially cut off all the running water in my apartment. And there was no way I was going to turn it on. And the repair guy only arrived the following morning to replace the water heater. But, this is a total first world problem. But yes, I appreciate your appreciation of the mimes, Brad. There's more of that high quality content every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. But while I'm on the topic of the water heater, let me just show you. I should have the picture here. At least in doing so, the the repair guy who eventually the repair guy who eventually fixed this Friday morning, he installed a second set of valves here. So if ever I have issues, I can cut off the water to the tank without cutting off the water to the whole apartment. But I gotta say, those 20 hours that came out of the blue where I had no running water in this apartment, that also includes, yeah, I couldn't bathe for a day. I also couldn't flush my toilet for those 20 hours. And I also couldn't wash my hands after using the toilet. So yeah, the fortunately I had enough Purell to last the rest of the day. But it's crazy how my soft, delicate first world suburban hands have become acclimated to getting running water whenever I want to. Say after flushing my functioning toilet. Yeah, so that happened, and that's one of, yes, very the I won't describe the emoji that Darth Shady just put in the chat, but that was a factor. And in my desperation, because those of you who are thinking it, you can actually flush your toilet without running water, but you kind of need a bucket of water to like dump in it, and then it'll just trigger the siphon phenomena that actually flushes it. But the since I had no running water and I was scrambling, I went to the corner store, which is also in this direction, but not in my apartment. And I bought. They didn't have like one of those big jugs of water. All I could get was one of those crates full of tiny bottles of water, and I tried to. I do have a bucket, but I didn't have the patience to actually empty out enough water bottles into it for the bucket to actually be full enough to actually trigger that siphon principle. Sadly, but yeah, that was resolved the next morning. Geez, I spent a lot of time telling that story, and all of you are still here. Why is my computer acting weird? Is this stream still on? Let me just. Oh, I know why. This must be it. Boom. Geez, This is a very minute detail, but my keyboard is no longer responding. Let me. Oh wow! Is like everything. Thank you, Brad, for pointing out that I didn't have audio. So, Brad was first, y'all. Just provide feedback faster, and then you could get a shout out like Brad just did. Brad, thank you. And others, Brad et al. That's what just happened. All right. Et al., I also acknowledge you. So, oh, geez, what an end to an eventful week, like I just said. Yeah, my stream got clogged. Yeah, from the no flushing. Listen, this is a perfect segue to another thing that happened this week because, first of all, as you may have noticed, and this is just an aside, but I finally bit the bullet. My browser should be here. Let me see here. This is a tightly run operation, y'all. Is it this one? Yeah, it's this one. Good. So, so like I was saying, I finally bit the bullet and I added comics in the banner. I like. I don't go out of my way to talk about comics, but it has come up like basically every other week since the beginning. So I might as well just add it to show people what to expect if they stumble on here. But the real thing that I wanted to say before going into our first segment, which will last God knows how long, is Friday. I saw a TED talk by someone. I forget the name, but the the um, the key fact, the key takeaway from that video is that it takes roughly 20, like, the 10,000 hour rule that we hear a lot. That is partly misleading in the sense that what takes 10,000 hours is to become world class in something like 10,000 hours of dedicated practice at something, and you will become one of the best in the world, at least in the conversation. A bunch of people will think you are the best in the world and will argue with their friends, but their friends will at least understand why you're in that conversation. And that can be discouraging, especially for people who only think like who think that without that 10,000 hours they suck, but it's not true. And it turns out in that video, the average number of hours that you need to like at least get competent at something, to get basically good at it, is 20 hours, which is a lot less than 10,000. But being that, I will hit, because I started this stream like the first Tuesday of January, from what I remember. And you know the amount of practice is part of the reason I wish I could stream more often. But Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern is the only time slot that I know I can dedicate week in, week out. And, if something bad happens, I can, warn people or whatever. But yeah, I wish I could do more. But at this rate, with the streaming 1 hour a week, I will hit my 20 hours at some point in the end of May. So, you know, when things like OBS Studio decides to completely crash on me, freezing other programs, I'll be better equipped to deal with that. So, yeah, that's encouraging. All right, let's prepare the first segment. And with all that, I forgot to uh, actually record that. You know what? That'll be a surprise for those in the VOD. Let me let me just prepare. It's going to be a follow up on my Ta-Nehisi Coates video. Damn, this is big. Oh, but it's for you. Okay, yeah. On my screen, it's normal, and I'm glad that they remembered. Nice bubbles, thank you. It's I like that background. Your explanation on OBS could be a segment in itself. What do you mean, Frank? My explanation on OBS. What do you mean by that? I don't need this. I don't need this. Yeah, I'll open this just in case. I wish I was more prepared for this segment, but I should have enough. Yes, of course, this tab I will definitely need. Hopefully. Yeah, okay. I'm doing all right. You just explained how to recover a stream when OBS crashes. Um, you could do how I reacted when OBS crashed on me. That's interesting. Maybe. Like I don't know what the VOD is going to look like once I'm done. All I know is the timer here is still at 23 minutes, and when I relaunched Chrome to go into my studio, I was still live according to YouTube, and they kind of just let me jump back in. So we'll see what happens. Let me just grab another sip of water. And yes, James, it does look refreshing. I'm also happy. I'm not quite there yet, but the background, I figured out how to set the lightings to have it be a little dimmer. Yeah, when I do this, it pops a little. I'm gonna have to figure out how to dim it a little more, but that's gonna be over time once I get my 20 hours. Oh yeah, I need to put my tabs in order. Uh, and there's one thing I almost forgot. I'm gonna have to Google it again. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I knew. Oh, what if I? Yeah, no, that's gonna suck. Part of me is scared that viewing something in image viewer is what made OBS Studio crash, and to do what I was planning to do, I wanted to do that again. So like I'm like gun shy. But worst case, I mean, the worst has happened already, and I only lost 2 viewers in the net, so that's good. So yeah, let me just open it and we'll see. Okay. Well, the rest of my computer still works, so that's a good sign. All right, enough moping. It's already the bottom of the hour, and I haven't even started the segment yet, which is fine. All that means is, Darth Shady, I'm afraid you might not see Penny again. We'll see. Yeah, and my notes. Okay, so I'd like to do a follow up for no, cut. We'll do it again. This build up to this segment, the anticipation tells me it's going to be good. Thank you. I appreciate the vote of confidence. All right, so this is a follow up to my video on last week on Ta-Nehisi Coates. As I mentioned in that video, I very recently learned who this guy was. In fact, I have known who Ta-Nehisi Coates is for such a short amount of time, I didn't even know how to pronounce his name. So if in this video you hear me say Ta-Nehisi Coates, that's just force of habit, but I'm pretty sure I have it down. Just re- um, to summarize, I was sitting there minding my own business on March 3rd when I noticed that Black Superman was trending on Twitter. So I did the thing I usually do when something comics related is trending, and I just found a strategic tweet to retweet and added my 2 cents. And then later that day, young Ripa 59 or Eric July, who's one of the only people that I know of who complains about these issues, who actually does read comics, mentioned that the Superman movie featuring a black Superman was written by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And then he went on to how he's a garbage writer, he's an activist, and all that kind of thing. Now, the reason I didn't take his words too heavily, is because, man, I love Eric July. I rarely hear him say things that surprise me. So when I see him describe this guy I've never heard of as a garbage writer and an activist, I kind of take it with a grain of salt. And another thing that he mentioned in that same video is that he'd been writing Captain America. And another thing I have a history of is not reading the names on the comics that I consume. So when he said that he's also writing the current run of of Captain America, I said, "Hey, I'm reading that. It's not so bad." And yeah, now we fast forward to last week, where Jordan Peterson learned of the him being portrayed as Red Skull. Y'all saw this video. I'm just summarizing what that story is in case anyone watching this somehow wasn't already aware. So the um, the main point of my other video, which will be linked below, is that Ta-Nehisi Coates was not saying that Jordan Peterson is the Red Skull. I think only someone who didn't read the comic would think that, or who read it in bad faith with such a negative impression of Ta-Nehisi Coates, which we'll get to, that they kind of lost that. Ta-Nehisi Coates was portraying the Red Skull as an embodiment of the overall alt-right rabbit hole, or if you prefer, the intellectual dark web. Anyone who is associated with that could have been could have been used as a personification for any at any particular time. It just so happens that in the infamous panel, this one panel in a comic book that had the 10 rules for life that was like so obviously Jordan Peterson that you'd need to be, I don't know what you would have to be to miss that point. But if you take it within the context of the larger book that that one panel is in, you could swap out Jordan Peterson for anyone. Like, I'm sure the talking points of the Red Skull could just as easily have been said by, say, Ben Shapiro or Stefan Molyneux or that kind of thing. So, I knew that I was going to make a follow up video because I have since learned of who Ta-Nehisi Coates is. And I gotta say, we're not going to read his entire wiki, but on the little that I know of this guy, people have called him things like race hustler, things like activist, things like race baiter, that kind of thing. And from the research that I've done on him, I've seen very little evidence to the contrary, quite frankly. As a matter of fact, one of the people who was angry in my comments for last week's video, he gave a quote that Ta-Nehisi said about 9/11, which was very yikesy. I gotta say, it was quite yikesy. I in the abstract, I am open to the possibility that there's a broader context that will make that quote not so yikesy. You know what? Since I'm mentioning it, I'll just read it. Let me just fetch it. I didn't prepare this tab. Ta-Nehisi Coates 9/11. A lot of people like brought up general things that he said about 9/11, but there's one quote in particular, and I don't feel like going into my comments. So yeah, this will do. Okay, this isn't the quote, but it'll illustrate the point. So, I stood on the roof of an apartment building with your mother. This is a book that he's writing to his son. So, yeah, I stood on the roof of an apartment building with your mother, your aunt Chana, and her boyfriend Jamal. Everyone knew someone who was missing. But looking out upon the ruins of America, my heart was cold. These three ellipses right here. I don't know what was cut out, okay, but I seriously doubt these ellipses are part of the actual text. So let's go to the actual quote that the guy cited to me. Bin Laden was not the first man to bring terror to that section of the city. I never forgot that, neither should you. And there was more that I don't feel like finding, but you can go into the comments of that video if you want. But when I read that, I was like, ooh, yikes. And like I was saying, I'm open to the possibility that there's a broader context that will make this text I just read a little look less bad than it looks. However, this is a quote from a book, and I'm not reading a whole damn book to find out the whole context of this. So, the bottom line is he's written for a bunch of left to center left newspapers and that kind of thing. So the label of activist writer, race hustler, and that kind of thing, I found very little to no evidence to the contrary. So that's that. I get it, and you know I think that. I don't have an issue with things like the typical things that the progressive left is concerned with things like race relations, LGBT issues, and things like that. Like the notion that comic book fans are like these straight white dudes who hate women, and the whenever they see anyone in their comic that's like not a straight white dude, they kind of like lose their shit. Like I don't, and I don't mind as long as it's not as long as it's not about that, you know. So as an example, and as I was thinking, I the notion of this man, this activist, writing Captain America that I'd been enjoying for about 2 years, and that I kind of missed these. I was like, is it me? Did I really miss something? And there is one clue that I kind of took for granted, which is the Daughters of Liberty here. Let me go here. So in the uh, in the arc for Captain America, one of the things that happens is Captain America gets framed for murder and convicted, so he gets thrown in jail. And Sharon Carter, I think it's Sharon. I keep forgetting who are the members. It should be here. Peggy Carter. There we go. One of the Carters, anyway. She assembles this group of women to break him out, and this happened pretty early in the run. And he had been working with the Daughters of Liberty basically ever since. So, in the actual issue where Jordan Peterson was imitated in that one panel. Later on, there was a scene where Stephen was drugged and he was being beaten up, and Peggy, no, Sharon, is it Sharon? Let me just, yeah, it's Sharon. There we go. So Sharon, who's wearing like this kind of Iron Man suit, flies in to save him, and I didn't think anything of it because he'd been working with these ladies for over a year, that's for sure. So that like the fact that the Daughters of Liberty are a thing, because if you scroll all the way down here you can see this they were created by Ta-Nehisi Coates, and their first appearance was, as you can see, in Captain America Volume 9, which was wait, yeah, it was published about 2 years ago. So this is old news, and as I said, he'd been working with them ever since. So it kind of fades into the background, and what made it tolerable to me, or I guess what made it not a big deal to me, that's a better way of putting it, is that even though they were women, it wasn't about them being women. Like if every other mission, one of them would like drop a little quip like, this job needs a woman's touch," then that would have been cringy, and that would have annoyed me. But it wasn't for the most part. Because in my research, actually, in Ta-Nehisi Coates' run, I noticed this little gem, which I definitely read, but I had forgotten about. This was in Captain America 25, I believe. The context isn't that important. This one page, I gotta say, is pretty damning. So we have it's Sharon in here in this Iron Man suit. This was her first time using it, and she's beating up this the villain of that particular arc, and she was feeling really good. And if we zoom in here, wait, oh yeah, there we go. So we zoom in, and she goes, "Yas, Queen," Yes. And then, damn it, karma for cultural appropriation. Yeah, I um I absolutely read this. I absolutely rolled my eyes when I absolutely rolled my eyes when I read that panel, and I moved on because again, if it was just things like that, maybe I would have given up. And if I had known who Ta-Nehisi Coates was at the time, and if I had known that he wrote this particular comic, would I have given up? Maybe, maybe not. It's difficult to tell. But the fact that I was ignorant of those things kind of let me write this off as, it's just like one offshoot. It's like that scene towards the end of Endgame where like all the male heroes are out, down and out for a second, and then all the women heroes like they assemble to have their moment. That was like very contrived. I probably did roll my eyes or at least say, okay, yes, I get it. But did it ruin the movie? Of course not. It's just like a thing that you do, and things like this is karma for cultural appropriation because this white chick said yes, queen. It's easy to write off. I'm pretty sure propaganda in comics today is as bad now as it was back in the 40s. Absolutely. Um, you know, I'm using I'm going to use propaganda in the proper sense of like getting your message out there. Sure, I see no reason why it would be any different. I Before I move on though, I do want to share in in the message board where I picked up that picture. Towards the end, someone put the SJW glasses on her. Very fitting. So yeah, kudos to you, anonymous. Ooh, hopefully I didn't accidentally flash things. Like this isn't 4chan. It looks like it, but yeah. Moving on. What was the next point? Yeah, I mean, honestly, this is like Ta-Nehisi Coates' run as Captain America is for me anyway, it's like a perfect storm of things that I was ignorant about that led to me enjoying the comic. Again, and anyone who reads comics knows this. Any ongoing monthly series will have lulls. They'll have a bad issue every now and then. Sometimes there'll be an entire arc that's bad that lasts maybe 1 to 3 issues, hopefully, and it happens. But as far as Ta-Nehisi being a bad writer, and the notion that these SJWs are ruining gaming, that's the kind of thing that we hear a lot. The numbers don't lie. This is a frame from a video that I will link to below. Shit, I really should credit the author. Give me a second. I'm gonna do that. If I'm not gonna play his video, I could at least name him. Oh, I know what I'm gonna do. Sorry for the interruption, people, but it's good etiquette. In the off chance that he actually notices. See, when I said that I wasn't as prepared as I want to be, this is an example right now. So thank you for indulging me. But I'm sure you understand the importance. Okay. So this is a frame from a video by Comics by Perch, and he did an analysis of the sales. I tried to get these numbers myself before, independently, before stumbling onto this video, but it was much more difficult to obtain than I wanted to. So this is great, and as we can see, the first edition of Captain America. This is the Ta-Nehisi Coates run. It sold 167,000 copies, and to a number two, 61,000. Now, it's important to note that when you have a comic book run, it's normal for there to be a significant drop between. Okay, it's normal for issue number one to have a bump in sales, so that drop off to issue number two is expected, but it shouldn't be this much. Normally, sales for a comic book after issue number one will drop in the order of 40% at the max, which means, and I'm doing some math here, times. So normally on wait, no, that can't work. I didn't carry the one. Let me just do that again. There we go. So normally on a typically popular comic, the sales for number two would be something like 100,000, and we're, you know, 40,000 under that, and then it was just declining and declining and declining from there on. So, whether or not Ta-Nehisi Coates was ruining Captain America by writing for it, if our metric is sales, this graph is crystal clear, despite the fact that I personally enjoyed it. And again, the fact that I don't care who writes my comics, and I didn't know who this guy was, even if I did, if this perfect storm of ignorance led me to enjoy an unpopular series for roughly 2 years, for over 2 years, I'm putting that in the win column, honestly. So yeah. There's another thing that I also didn't know, and this is specific to Captain America. It wasn't clear to me. It wasn't clear to me in how much danger Captain America was as a brand at the time. They had put him through a bunch of arcs that were unpopular, and I didn't know because I was just reading along. As I've covered on this channel before, what got me back into comics after many years of being like a casual comic reader, like I'd read crossover events and things like that, but what got me back into like committing to reading a series was when I heard that Sam Wilson was going to be Captain America. And I wasn't intrigued because, oh, finally a black superhero. I'm gonna read someone that looks like me, and that makes me like comics. That's not what that was about. What intrigued me was, holy shit, Steve Rogers is walking away. Like, why? And I wanted to know more about that. So what I did to get the full context, I read all of Volume 7 of Captain America. As you can see, the that particular volume was published in the early 2010s, and Sam Wilson's run was 2015, 2016. The point I'm getting at, because after Sam Wilson walked away from the Shield, they relaunched the Captain America series at least twice more since then, including Coates' run. And learning this, putting this in context, me, do you plan to start looking into authors more often now? No. I don't see any reason to change my behavior. Because some activist wrote a couple, to my view, not that cringy comics. I swear to God, it's possible that like that I've been cucked, that I've been blue pilled, and that all these notions just flew over my head because I'm such a soy boy. That it's possible, but man, things that people find cringy, uh, I usually find those cringy too, okay? So for sure, I rolled my eyes at that cultural appropriation quip I just showed you. But again, it's one quip. It's fine. It's not a big deal to me that, you know, Sharon Carter assembled a group of women to break Stephen out of jail, and then he's been working with them ever since. It's not a big deal to me. Is that me? Maybe. But yeah. Oh, I just reminded myself of the point that I was going to make. So, for the diehard comic book fans who had been like seriously following Captain America for their whole life, they rebooted this series like many times in under 10 years. Wait, 2013 to yeah, so in 8 years, okay? And it reminded me of me on this channel about a month ago. I fucking bitched about DC Comics and how they rebooted their fucking universe too much for me. And as a result, I am done with them as a brand at all, except for The Flash. I'm still going to read The Flash. So yeah, when I realized that for a for a Captain America fan, Captain America was rebooted even more often in an even shorter amount of time. And on top of that, the last reboot, they put this jackass in charge. Yeah, I get why they would be upset. I'm calling him a jackass because they would. Again, to me, I see why people would hate him, but to me, it's not that bad. So, yeah, that about covers it. So, thank you very much for watching. If you liked this video, first of all, I do these streams every Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. And please give this video a thumbs up. It helps the channel a lot. And on that note, I'll see you soon. Yeah. You know, my goal when I record a segment is to make my job easier when I'm editing. But that one I'm probably going to have to edit more than I'd like. I kind of have to publish it, but yeah. Thank you very much. And it takes us to like 5 minutes before the 5 minutes to 11. I did start the stream late. I think I started at like 10:05 or something like that. So yeah, let me just. Hey, remember the thing that I said I was going to do to have the timestamps up faster? I didn't do it. But hey, I don't have my 20 hours yet. That's my excuse. Look into comic creators Chris Claremont. Oh shit! One thing that I forgot to mention. God damn it! In my research, and you know what? I'm splicing this in. On the flip side, one thing that I am very grateful for in my research on Ta-Nehisi Coates, I discovered from people who were complaining about Captain America as a brand as a whole that Mark Waid is apparently one of the best Captain America writers of all time. The guy who said this said he was easily in the top three. So, hey, I discovered a new writer, and yeah, I'm probably gonna, you know, look into Mark Waid's Captain America stories and cherry pick from there. We'll see what happens. All right. I could not mention that. Look into comic. Chris Claremont's. Yeah, I know, Brad. Mark Waid in all caps. Chris Claremont's X-Men. Okay, Brad. I'll as far as Chris Claremont's X-Men run, I'll note it. Wait. Chris Claremont X-Men. But I gotta say, Jonathan Hickman's present run with the X-Men is really good as well. So I'm sure Hickman might be standing on Claremont's shoulders or whatever, but right now, what's going on with the Mutants of Marvel is awesome, and I'm fucking loving it. So yeah. Hey, any final memes before I cut the stream? Yeah, after tonight, it's I have another hour in the bank. We will reach our 20 hours in about 8 weeks. So yeah, have you seen the Snyder Cut? I started watching it. I have not finished it yet. I keep forgetting, and other things keep coming up. So yeah, and I'm involved in another project which is taking up a lot of my time. That's also one of the reasons why I started this stream late. I wasn't as prepared as I'd like, but hey, thank you very much for still being here. How many people are still here now? Oh, I regained the original 7. Nice. Land reform is right next the corner in SDV. The fuck does that mean? Stardew Valley. Land reform is right next the corner in Stardew Valley. I'm assuming SDV is Stardew Valley. I'll give you a couple minutes to clarify, Frank. All right. Oh boy. I really didn't do anything. Then again, in my defense, OBS Studio crashed early into the stream, which was a huge pattern interrupt on a new habit that I'm trying to form. So that I might have to, you know, take longer to put the timestamps in the description. Cut me some slack, Sid. That's really me. I'm speaking to myself. Yeah. Upcoming event land reform. Yeah. That was an inside joke, which would take too long to explain, but I love it. All right. Where's my music? There it is. Awesome. Thank you very much for still being here. If anyone is actually watching in the VOD, like, thank you even more. I wish you were here. You can be. Next Tuesday night at 10 p.m. Eastern. I say that a lot. All right. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. I will see you soon.